thanks very much to people for coming. We know it's a long event, particularly when you're coming in either side of lunchtime. So what we have today, we have two speakers who we'll introduce. They'll have 10 minutes each. We've decided to structure this different to last year because this really is to give those people their opportunity to speak to us. If anybody has questions or comments, we won't be able to do a Q&A this year. We all know we're very restricted by Rule 5. We're still in the process of trying to sort a bit of flexibility there. But if you have questions or comments, we will bring them forward to the newly elected committee from here and say we'll see where we can go from there. So without further ado, we'll introduce our first speaker. Sorry, just before I finish, on Palestine, there is nothing stopping any individual in this room in their personal capacity joining the Trade Union Friends of Palestine movement. Now, I've been in contact with the lady who is trying to get the numbers together, and I have application forms, but I'm going to keep it simple. Send round a sheet, and all you need to put down is your union, your name, and your email address. So we're not in breach of Rule 5 or anything like that. We're joining as trade unionists, members of ICTU. So I'll send that around the hall for anyone who's interested in signing up. Okay, so thanks everyone. So without any further ado, our first speaker is, okay, so Oksana Kovalenko, and I hope I'm doing her justice and pronouncing her name correctly. Oksana is a lead specialist of the Directorate of Education at the Ministry of Education and Science of Ukraine. She's responsible for foreign languages teaching and learning in Ukraine. She's a representative from Ukraine in the steering committee on the education modern foreign languages by actively providing advice, expertise, and hands-on training to teachers, teacher educators, and decision makers all over the Ukraine. She's also engaged in global citizenship education at Ukrainian and wider European level. We're very privileged that she was in a position to give us her time today. And my very last ask, if people don't mind when they're sitting down, is Jim has asked that we might ask people to move towards the front because it'll have a lot better impact when we have photos and that, and it's much nicer for the speaker. So you're very, very welcome. And we have 10 minutes and
Thank you very much, colleagues. I will try to get in 10 minutes. Dear colleagues, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity to participate in this event and want to emphasize the importance of the subject of the meeting, which gives the Ukrainian side the opportunity to draw additional attention to the realities in which Ukrainian school children and students have to get an education during the ongoing aggressive war of the Russian Federation against our country. In the times of military aggression of the Russian Federation, education suffered significant losses, and we are really thinking which significantly affected the infrastructure and mechanism and function. And as much of 2024, more than 3,000 educational institutions were affected by bombing and shelling, and more than 600 of them were completely destroyed. In the regions that are located in the temporarily occupied territories of Ukraine or where active hostilities are taking place, it is impossible to determine the degree of damage. But in the same time, our main priorities for now are to guarantee safe learning and working conditions for all participants of the educational process and to ensure the quality of education. It's very difficult, but we are trying to do this. Our Cabinet of Ministers of Ukraine adopted a resolution dated in July 2023 about peculiarities of educational process during martial law in Ukraine in schools during this academic year. According to this resolution, Regional and Kiev City Military Administration should organize the beginning of the academic year depending on the security situation in each separate administrative and territorial unit. Educational process in schools in accordance with the decision of these territorial administrations can be organized in different modes, face-to-face, distance learning, or mixed mode, depending on the capabilities of shelters in these schools. And yes, the educational process in face-to-face form is possible in the premises or buildings with shelters only. This is our realities. It's very difficult for us to understand how our students which left Ukraine and now they are abroad could organize their educational process. Most of them have got two schools, schools in host countries, and certainly they are trying to attend and keep in touch with their own schools in Ukraine. And we also adopted special curriculum for these students who left Ukraine and now they are abroad. They could they attended certainly their schools in host countries, but in the same time, we are proposing them for them some special courses, all these subjects which are not included into their curriculum in these countries. It is connected with the Ukrainian language, Ukrainian literature, history of Ukraine, geography. All these subjects which are closely connected with the Ukrainian. And it's very important that we give the opportunity to schools in Ukraine where these students are connected to approve their assessment in these schools, all these other subjects, I mean STEM education and so on, which are similar with the Ukrainian. But in the same time, we are thinking about future. We are thinking about future, and we are on the way of transformation and reforming our upper secondary schools. And we are thinking how to organize all these steps, and our next steps. It's a reform of high school, so-called high school or upper secondary. We aim to introduce more flexible and personalized learning experience for students, particularly through the implementations of subject choice. As for now, students face of an overwhelming number of subjects and information, much of which is not applicable in real life. A focus on relevant and interesting subjects is proposed. This innovation is part of a broad effort to align education with the evolving demands of technology-driven world and prepare students for future challenges. The vision of the ministry is the following. Starting grade 10, students can explore different subjects before focusing more deeply in grades 11 and 12. And the system is structured around profiles that require certain compulsory subjects, supplemented by a set of subjects related to the chosen profile and additional free choices. This approach aims to balance deep specialization with the flexibility to explore diverse areas, fostering both academic and personal development. However, the transition faces significant barriers, such as developing a diverse and adaptable curriculum that accommodates both compulsory and elective subjects, and offer both. Ensuring that students from all backgrounds and regions have equal access to diverse educational opportunities, preventing any form of educational inequality. Designing a fair and efficient network of schools to ensure equal access to quality education for all students. training teachers to adapt to a more flexible curriculum and effectively deliver new content. Assessing not only traditional academic knowledge, but also soft skills like critical thinking, collaboration, and emotional intelligence. That is why developing new assessment tools and criteria that accurately measures these diverse competences is very important. Therefore, for almost a year of the war, Ukrainian education has suffered significant losses and huge changes, but I can confidently say that our education has passed the test of sustainability. No one can currently say how long the war will last and when it will end, or predict what challenges we will face in the future. In this difficult time for our country, we must be able to adapt quickly and make optional decisions to ensure the highest possible quality of education. And the challenges facing education in today's environment are complex. We have to make incredible efforts, but we are confident that as long as our children receive education and our defenders are fighting for our freedom on the battlefield, we have a great and bright future ahead of us. Yes, it's really very difficult for us, but we are trying to fight, and we are fighting in different fields, and education is on the front row, and we are trying to do everything best, all the best for our students, for our teachers, for our parents, and for our staff, to feel them safe and to give them quality education, because our children, it's our future, it's the future of Ukraine. Thank you very much.
Oksana, just to thank you very much for your time today. It's great for us. We have a lot of Ukrainian kids in our schools, as you know, and they're extremely welcome to be here, but it's unfortunate about the circumstances. And the more we can find out about the Ukrainian curriculum and how we can support our Ukrainian community here in Ireland, and hopefully when they get back home, the better. So I hope people will join me in this a little fringe modern foreign languages attempt here. So for Ukrainian, Slavia, Ukrainia, we might chant it 3 times. Slavia, Ukrainia, Slavia, Ukrainia, Slavia, Ukrainia. Thank you very much.
Героям слава. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You have talked about curriculum in
Yes.
upper secondary, which is actually quite like our story in Ireland at the moment. But also I understand that in Ukraine, you are taking measures to improve the quality of teachers and teacher professionalism.
Yes.
Maybe you could tell us
Yes.
a little bit about that, please.
Yes, we are doing a lot connected with the professional development of teachers. So we we adopted new curriculum for teachers. We included there are some modules connected with the well-being and safety. Module connected with the how to organize let us say educational process when in shelters, when they hear alarm signal, and how to cope with all this psychological problems, everything. It was added to our professional development. In the same time, we are trying to change the approaches connected with the education, because we are thinking about the future, and we are trying to connect knowledge and the competencies to make it more to make it in to change it into a more competence way, and to we added some things connected with the critical thinking about teamwork, group work, socializing, and so on. But certainly it's very difficult for us to organize face-to-face, but we are trying to organize such courses, professional courses for teachers. But we have got a lot of international organizations, and they are trying to help our teachers, and we are organizing a lot of courses outside the Ukraine, or in the safe, so-called, safe territories, because, you know, we do not have almost safe territories in Ukraine. And certainly the most important way of transferring all this professional development and the knowledge to teachers is distance or online courses. And we have got a lot of these things here in Ukraine as well.
Thank you, Oksana. I know one of our delegates here, Eamon Daly, wants to ask you a question here, Oksana, and I think we'll be wrapping up at that point just due to time.
Hi, Eamon Daly, CEC Neuros. Thank you very much to our speaker first for joining us. And this goes to our speaker and to the Solidarity Committee. How are the Ukrainian students who have joined us here in Ireland, how are they integrating into Irish society? Have you any feedback on how they've integrated, on their well-being? What supports do you think we could put in place for the young children from Ukraine who have joined us here in Ireland?
Yes, we are closely connected with our ambassadors in different countries, and because it's very important for us to have the clear picture of the situation with our students and our people in different countries. And as I know for this moment that in all countries we have got the same approach to the whole countries. We are proposing them to attend their lessons, schools in the host countries, and in the same time do not interrupt the connection with the Ukrainian schools. And we are giving them different ways how they could be connected with the Ukrainian schools, how they could attend Ukrainians lessons after these lessons in host countries and so on. And as far as I know, the most important question for them is language barrier. But in different countries, they they have got different solutions. The most maybe useful for our student, it's some time of spending in so-called integration classes where they could receive some language lessons to be integrated in the educational process of the schools of the country of the host country. And this language barrier, it's a kind of barrier to be socializing, and we are trying to overcome these things, but it's our position that they have to attend their schools, but in the same time they have got opportunities to be connected with the Ukrainian schools and to have lessons in Ukrainian language, literature, and to come back to Ukraine, to be ready to come back to Ukraine.
Thank you, Oksana. And thanks again for joining us. Apologies, it's so short and sweet, but we are very restricted on time. And Oksana, we will keep in contact with you. Thank you very much for today. Now, I keep the second introduction very short at the end of the time. Khaled Quzmar is the president of the international NGO Defence for Children International and director of the Palestine affiliate since 2015. And we have more details about him here. I think it has been circulated yesterday. So a brief introduction, because we want to maximize your own time, Khaled, in speaking to us. And some of us have had the pleasure of hearing you at an ICTU event a number of years ago. So we're tight on time, Khaled. So 10 minutes over to you. And thank you very much for being with us.
Yes, thank you very much. And really, it's an honor for me to be with you in this very important event. And it's also an opportunity for me to share with you some of the suffer of the Palestinian children in Palestine. Today, timing is very important because today we are celebrating the Palestinian Child Day. And this yearly, we celebrate this day by talking about how much we are qualified enough and how much we manage to change in the life of the Palestinian children. But this year, with the genocide, the ongoing genocide in Gaza, with the ongoing war crimes and crimes against humanity in the West Bank against children, so we decided to change and to make it as an announcement, international campaign to consider it as an international day for solidarity with Palestinian, in solidarity with Palestinian children. So just now I came from one of the activities that we did in Ramallah, and we raised the voice loudly to talk about stopping the genocide in Gaza and the killing in the West Bank, because now we are talking, unfortunately, about more than 14,500 children killed in 6 months in Gaza, and more than 14 children killed in the West Bank. And then in addition to double of this number, I'm so sorry to talk about children, the life of children in numbers, but numbers also reflect the facts that they're being killed. Of course, the double are injured, and now Israel is using starvation as a weapon tool. So until now, we document the killing of 32 children because of lack of food, lack of water. I'm very much worried how much the number will be if they continue the ongoing genocide against Gaza. This is an introduction. For me to talk about right to education in Palestine, it's a unique experience, I can say. I studied in Ireland and I studied international law. The International Covenant on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights clearly present the right to education as a fundamental right for the children. And it's like Article 12 talked about the education must be compulsory and for every child. This is the responsibility of the government. But in Palestine, we live in a different situation. We are under ongoing occupation for more than 56 years. We are also live in different cantons. I can say that the occupation, the Israeli ongoing occupation made from the Palestinian occupied territory as cantons, like we have the one in Gaza, which is subject to siege from the Israeli military occupation for more than 17 years. And in the West Bank, there is more than 2.5 million Palestinians in different communities, while in the same time we have colonial settlers who a number now around 900,000 settlers in the West Bank. They complicated the life of the Palestinians because they made the cities, the Palestinian cities, as big prison to those who are living. To move from city to city is subject to checkpoints, Israeli military checkpoints, and of course subject to attacks from the soldiers, from the settlers. This is one of the main obstacles that we are facing in the occupied Palestinian territory. That's in the normal life. But now, under the genocide on Gaza and the ongoing attacks in the West Bank, it's become really as a disaster. What is happening in Gaza now, as I mentioned, the number of the killings, 14,500. This means that if we compare this number with the population in Gaza, in the US, this means that more than 14 million children killed in the US So for Gaza, 2,200,000, 14,500 are killed, 8,000 until now the rubble since months. So it's a disaster, and it is really, they are live in high risk because of no food, no electricity, no water, no communication, no schools, no hospitals. So it's hospitals become occupied by the Israeli soldiers, and they damaged everything. They demolish the buildings, they confiscate the equipments. So there is now, as the Secretary General of the United Nations said, that Gaza become a graveyard for children. And of course, also, if you hear the speech of Borrell, said Gaza used to be the biggest prison, now the high-risk place and the graveyard of civilians, children, and the international law. So back to the right to education. We face, as I said, a unique situation. Many obstacles we are facing while we are implementing this right to our children. First of all, the curriculum. Now Israel intervening in the Palestinian curriculum. While this curriculum that we are studying now, we are teaching in our schools, it was before the establishing the Palestinian Authority. The same curriculum that Israeli used to control it since 1967 until the 1996. After 1996, we used to use the same curriculum, and now Israel is criticizing us and attacking us that we used incitement curriculum, and we have to change it. While if you go to the Israeli curriculum to see how they are present in their curriculum about the Palestinians, they are attacking us and they present us as animals. And of course, animals, it's come not only from their system, but the Israeli defense minister, Gallant, he said it clearly when he started the war against Gaza, when he started the genocide. He declared in the second day of the 7th of October, he said, we are fighting human animals. There is no civilians in Gaza. They are all terrorists. They considered those who are from the age of 4 years is a terrorist. So now this is the main problem. As I said, it's like the curriculum when it comes to the West Bank. But when it comes to Gaza, now Gaza, no education since 7th of October until now. And no possible education in the future, even if the war stopped now. If the genocide stopped now, there is no education, because more than 100 schools completely damaged. More than 300 schools become shelters for the civilians. When it comes to the students, children, many schools, all the children in that school been killed by the Israeli attacks. When we talk about 14,000, this means that thousands of children in different schools being missed. Also, teachers, more than 200 teachers been until now disappeared or arrested by the Israeli. All those who are arrested by the Israeli, the number is around 10,000. Nobody knows, 10,000 civilians. Nobody knows any information about them, including children, including teachers. So there is, this is why I'm saying, even if the genocide is stopped today, we need months and maybe years until we will manage to rebuild the education system to let the children exercise their right to education. Also, in general, in the West Bank, while the genocide is in Gaza and war crimes in the West Bank. In West Bank, many schools are going to the school high risk for the children. thanks to EBBI, a group of volunteers from the world churches. They are in volunteer basis. They used to come to the West Bank in order to accompany the children to go to the school, to protect them from the settlers' attacks. Now, since the 7th of October, Israel denied them the right to enter the occupied territories, and now the children are left without any protection. And if a Palestinian adults try to accompany the children, they will be attacked themselves and also the settlers. But sometimes when international volunteers come, it helps much, but unfortunately this right now is not there. Also, the schools that what we called also always I'm talking about occupied territories, a unique place and situation. The West Bank is distributed to Area A, Area B, Area C. All those who are in Area C is under the Israeli full control, and the Israeli demolish many schools. Even if the Palestinian communities build a house to consider it as a school, and mostly they are supported by the EU fund, and many schools are demolished 1 time and 2 times and 3 times by the Israeli soldiers and Israeli settlers. So in general, I can say that right to education in Palestine is, especially in this time, is unimplemented. Even in the areas that subject to the Palestinian Authority jurisdiction is not work well because of the checkpoints that each city now in Ramallah, in the West Bank, in Nablus, considered as a big prison. There is a gate for all the entrance of the city, and nobody can get in or get out without passing through the Israeli military checkpoints. And usually they complicate the life and deny of the civilians and deny them to get out or to get in. So those teachers who live outside the city and work in the city, unable to go to the city, to get in, to go to the school. The same with those who are inside the city and their work is outside the city. They open the checkpoints in a certain time and they close it. But even when it is open, each one would like to pass. He will waste from his time, depend maybe half an hour, maybe 1 hour, maybe 2 hours. Those who are living the same. So it's become a normal life being subject to this colonization system. So from our side, I don't want to take much time, but I would like to say that all these violations to the right to education, to right to life, to be alive, always we are documenting these violations. We used it in our advocacy work, targeting parliamentarians around the world, targeting UN agencies, the UN complaints mechanism, and of course, I can say that no one can claim that he didn't know about what is happening. All those in the national levels and in the international levels, we shared with them these information, these facts, but unfortunately, never they took action to hold the Israeli military or the Israeli political level accountable for these crimes. This is why what is happening now as a genocide in Gaza, the killing, the denying the people their rights, right to food, right to education, right to have adequate housing. So all these rights are systematically violated without any action from the international community. This was like a message to the Israeli, like you are living under full impunity, no accountability, then it's like a green light to continue their crimes. I believe this is the time, and being with you I'm happy to share with you such information in order to participate in the campaign around the world to ask for stopping immediately the crimes, the genocide in Gaza and the killing in the West Bank, because every minute we will manage to reach ceasefire and to stop the genocide, we will save the life of many civilians, including children. And of course, we also ask in order to offer the international community to take an action to immediately provide the civilians in Gaza, the 2,200,000, with the means of life, food, water, electricity, and of course, shelters. And of course, we need the efforts of the international community to hold the Israeli criminals accountable for their crimes in order to ensure that what is happening in Gaza, what is happening in the West Bank will never happen in Palestine or in any place in the world. It should be a message to all the criminals around the world, those who are committed systematically the rights of the civilians, including in particular children. They must feel that no more impunity, they will be held accountable. I will stop here, and if you have any question, I'm ready. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Khaled, thank you very much for being with us today. I don't need to say actions speak louder than words. I think you can see the solidarity coming
I
from
saw,
speakers
thank
in
you.
Wexford today. Ireland stands with Palestine.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. This is what we expected from Ireland people, Ireland government, Ireland president. Thank you very much.
Very much. And as we finish up, we're going to have a minute silence for all the children and adults who are suffering in Gaza, and we remember our Ukrainian friends also.
Of course.
And
Of course.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Khaled, I hope it'll bring you some solace to know that we've been circulating a sheet of paper to get signatures to affiliate to the trade unions, Friends of Palestine. We wish you well, we think of you, and we stand with you. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.